Well, good morning, everybody. As you can tell, I'm under the umbrella. I'm out here at the dog park. You know, if you've ever had a dog, they don't like to have their routine broken. And I'm threading the needle here between some rain showers, and which brought up kind of an afterthought. I had a question back with my how to set a tent up in a heavy wind. One of my subscribers asked, "Well, how do you set it up in the rain?" And I guess my answer was more kind of a little flippant and just that I avoid it at all costs. Well, there's a little bit more to it than that, and maybe I can get into that. Also, I had an afterthought from the question and answer yesterday with regard to funding an Appalachian Trail hike, and with all the discussion that we had with that yesterday, one of the thoughts that I had last night, and I want to share with you now, is GoFundMe. People have used GoFundMe's to do all sorts of stuff. There are people out there that love to help out and are willing to donate. I think Red Mage has an account for this year's hike. Dixie with Homemade Wanderlust, she set one up to be able to get gear for her PCT this year. I've got a nephew that has a GoFundMe account to go to Australia or to New Zealand. I'm trying to remember which one. For some kind of postgraduate stuff, if I remember, and so there's options there, and you can put that out on your Facebook and try and network. As with anything, the best jobs don't come from looking in a help wanted ad on Craigslist. Okay, the best jobs come from networking with people who know people, and people who know about jobs, and people who need jobs, and all those things get put together before they ever get to Craigslist. Okay, so network and get a YouTube channel set up and do some videos, and ask for some help, and you'll be surprised the people that will step forward out there. Okay, how to set up a tent in the rain. Well, let's break this up into three sleep systems: hammocks, double wall tents, and single wall tents. Your hammocks have the best, or probably the easiest time at it, in that you set up your rain fly first, then your hammock comes underneath. However, you better make sure you have some drip lines on your suspension. Otherwise, the rain will just run down the tree onto your straps, down the straps to your hammock, get everything wet. So you do have to make sure that you know about that. And there's YouTube videos on drip lines and rain setups and things like that. Now, between your double wall and your single wall tents, I think your single wall has an advantage, because much like the hammock tarp, it is a tarp. Happens to have an integrated bug net and a bathtub underneath it for most parts, for most of them these days. Your Z-Pack is an example. And the guys I saw setting up the single wall tents, it didn't even bother them that it was raining. They'd go out and just lay it out, and usually I see them strap the back two corners out first, and then take the opposite center pole, put it in, tie it down, and then finish out the tent. And by doing it that way, they literally kept all the rain out, because the top of the tent was always protecting the net and the bathtub when they did that. And it was also easy to get gear in, because you didn't have problems with the rain trying to come in. The double wall tents, you have to almost know that it's going to be raining when you're trying to set it up. So when you fold up the tent, you need to have put the rain fly pretty much over the mesh, so as you unroll it, it is now protecting the mesh of the tent from the water coming in. And then you can stake it out, try and get the aluminum poles up underneath the rain fly, and then into the corners, and then raise it up while trying to keep the rain fly from falling off or blowing off if it's a little bit windy. With my Big Agnes, one of the disadvantages is, even if you had been able to do that perfectly, if you as soon as you unzip the vestibule to try and get in, it exposes the bathtub to water rain coming in. That's one of the design flaws of that, and I think in 2017 they made a little bit of a design change there. Man, I put some bug spray on here this morning. I got gnats still after me. The copper spur Big Agnes is probably better with that, with the dual vegetables. So that's one of the disadvantages of that Big Agnes. Now, one of the problems with doing that is with the Big Agnes or any kind of a sill nylon type of a tent, they tell you if you're always folding it the same way all the time, you're going to put creases in it that will eventually compromise the repellency of the fabric. So, like I just stuff mine in a stuff sack, rain top first, then the tent. So, on a day-to-day basis, I am not prepared to be able to set mine up in the rain. So I have to avoid that. Well, how do you avoid setting it up in the rain? Well, if you're at a shelter area and it happens to have an overhang, you can set up the tent in the overhang, put the rainfly on, and just pick it up and take it out and set it down where you're going to be using it. I've seen that quite a few times. Even sometimes if your tent's dry, people will move around inside the shelter so you can at least set it up and then walk out with it if you just ask nicely. The other way is most of the time rain comes in bands. There's cells moving over. When you have an area of rain, it's a little bit harder, but how do you know? Well, you've got your weather, your atweather.org map app, or excuse me, a website, and I've noticed with that over the course of using it now for 2 seasons hiking, when it says it's going to start raining at 2 o'clock, within plus or minus 15 minutes, it's raining at 2 o'clock. If it says that's 20% chance of rain, you may or may not get rain. If it's 30, yeah, probably. If it's 40, you're definitely going to get rain. You got to remember that when it says like 30% chance of rain, that's over the forecast area. Well, you're in the mountains. Mountains cause weather, so if it's going to rain anywhere, in 30% of the forecast area, it's going to rain on the AT where you're hiking. So you can use that to know when the rain's coming, so you might be able to, or when the rain is going to stop. The other great resource is if you have data, like with Verizon, is to use your data plan and go to either download a radar app, or go to download the Weather Channel app, and there's a radar function on there. It's a Doppler radar, and you can put that in motion. And you can see the cells coming, and it'll give you a pretty good idea how long you need to wait. Just wait it out. Just you might get to a tent site, and you can go into the overhang and do your dinner first, and just wait for it to stop raining. I did that my first night in the Shenandoahs when I got my hammock back. By the time I got to about an hour before I got to the shelter, it was just pouring, hard pouring rain. And even though I had the hammock and could probably still set it up, I chose, I just went over and hung out with everybody else at the picnic table under the overhang, waited for it to slow down to a drizzle, checked my weather apps. Okay, this is a good time. Ran out, threw my rain fly up, and started setting up my system. So there's resources out there to help you avoid setting up in the rain. Once again, between the 2 types of tents, double wall or single wall, I think the single wall is superior in being able to set up in the rain. You do have more of an issue with condensation with a single wall tent that you'll have to deal with the humidity. So anyway, that's a little bonus to the Q&A from yesterday, and I hope everybody has a great day, and I can get done here at the park before the next squall of rain showers is coming in. And how do I know? Because I checked my Doppler radar on my weather app, and I know what's coming. See you later, everybody. Bye.